Howdy folks, Nathan here with TFL Off-Road. Let me ask you a question. Are you guys a little depressed about the new Defender? Now, this new vehicle is pretty much a unit body, four-wheel independent suspension, sort of off-roady capable vehicle, right? But a lot of people lament the loss of the old Land Rover Defender. So the question goes to a couple vehicles that I want to talk to you guys about. One of them is the new Grenadier. And this is a vehicle that's built by Ineos, which is actually a chemical company, and they've gone and built themselves what I consider to be a true modern replacement for the old Land Rover Defender. Okay, so what is this vehicle? It is not a Land Rover Defender. It's not a resto mod. It's not based on that vehicle, even though it looks a lot like it. From the ground up, it's completely unique. And I want to tell you about it because they have plans to bring it to North America and, of course, the rest of the world. Meaning that you'll be able to buy one of these. And we're talking about a serious off-roader here. We're talking about a vehicle that has a proper ladder frame, that is super rigid. We're talking about a vehicle that has solid front and rear axles, that have locking diffs. We're talking about a vehicle that has coil spring suspension and excellent articulation. Let me tell you about the Grenadier. Now, in terms of the overall build of this vehicle, even though it looks, once again, a lot like a Land Rover Defender, it's not. So that means that all the components are unique. They went and built themselves a modern interpretation of it. That means that for those of you who really wanted one of these, you can get one that's better. Why is it better? Well, for one thing, it has a 6-cylinder BMW turbocharged engine that's going to put out over 300 horsepower. It's also going to have a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. So you're talking about excellent torque, which I believe is close to 400 pound-feet of torque. You're talking about excellent performance out of the bag. One of my favorite engines is a BMW 6-cylinder turbocharged engine, and they have proven to be relatively reliable. But more importantly, these are engines that have already been Department of Transportation approved, so you don't have to worry about going through the approval process in order to get one of these. It's already halfway there, right? So when Ineos went and built this, they also wanted to make sure that this wasn't ridiculously overpriced. Now, pricing has not been confirmed for the North American market. However, we're hearing that starting prices are going to be in the $50,000 to $60,000 range. Now, when you think about that price, consider the fact that this is a unique vehicle built from the ground up to be unique, and at the same time, consider what it competes against. Dude, this competes against things like the G-Wagon, and it competes against things like the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and at the same time, there are different configurations that they are building in the future. Now, once again, these have not all been announced, but they are expecting their first year, which will be 2021, to build 25,000 units. These are all new vehicles that they're building that hopefully will be available here in North America. And as you can see from this image, it is pretty impressive. Now, they're hoping, when I was talking about different units, to also produce one that is the pickup truck. So it's basically the 4-door with a pickup truck bed. That means that you'd be able to buy something for the same possible money as an overbuilt Jeep Gladiator that may be able to outperform it right out of the box. Something to think about. So once again, that's the Ineos Grenadier. I'm really excited about that because I've been a little depressed about some of the information I've been getting about the new Land Rover Defender. And I think some of you guys have been as well. So let's move on to something that's a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more my speed in terms of just ridiculous, overbuilt, overdone, and overplayed. This is called the Twisted 4x4. Now, Twisted is a company that is built, they're based in Europe, but they are building vehicles for the North American market. Not only that, but right now, you'd be able to go to Texas and actually test drive some of these vehicles. Now, unlike Grenadier, these vehicles are partially built on the Land Rover Defender platform. However, they have components that are, well, let's just say unique to the American market at least. Let me explain. Base engine. The base engine is a 455 horsepower, 6.2 liter LT1 V8. 455 horsepower. Whew. The optional 6.2 liter V8, the LT4, it makes 650 horsepower. You can get an 8-speed automatic or a 5-speed manual transmission. Huzzah. Can you imagine one of these with that much horsepower and a 5-speed manual transmission off-road? Oh my God, I'm so excited. And as you can see, they're not just building a couple different versions, they're basically doing the entire Land Rover Defender lineup. So that goes from a soft top 3-door all the way up to the big wagon and 2 different pickups. I mean, that's pretty impressive stuff. Now, one of the things that Twisted is doing is they're building this vehicle to go directly against the G-Wagon, not just the regular G-Wagon, but the AMG. So what they've done is they've created a hyper luxurious cockpit. So the interior of this vehicle is covered with expensive leathers, woods, and metals. Seats are super luxurious. Everything in it is just overdone. Why? Because this is a vehicle that you want to show off. It isn't necessarily one that a lot of people are going to take off-road, kind of like the G-Wagon. In other words, I expect to see a few of these in Southern California, just like I see a lot of G-Wagons. Now, there are a couple things you should know about it. First of all, if you contact Twisted, they will make you your own vehicle. Starting price for one of these, $250,000, $250,000. That may seem like a lot of money, and indeed it is. However, if you look at what a built-up G-Wagon AMG runs, then suddenly this price is a little bit more realistic. Now, once again, they are allowing buyers and prospective buyers to test drive these vehicles in Texas. If you contact them, you can fly down there and have a limited test drive, but it's a little bit more complicated than that under the current conditions that we're living in. So you need to contact them and figure out how to make that work. Nonetheless, that means they're very serious about the North American market. And that also means that a lot of you guys out there who are dying to get something like this can finally buy it. Now, I bet you're wondering, why $250,000 for a vehicle like this? Well, consider just the platform alone and how much that costs, and then all the upgrades. Now, this isn't just a big engine stuffed into a platform that's not really built for it. Everything has been beefed up, from the brakes, the axles, the transmission, all of those components, the mountings, they've all been built up in order to handle this much power, this much torque, and this much off-road ability. How good are both of these vehicles? How good is the Grenadier and how good is this Twisted 4x4? I don't know. Haven't had a chance to drive either of them, although Roman has given me permission to beg them to give us samples of these vehicles so we can actually test them and let you guys know. But the most important thing is there are options out there for you guys who are a little disappointed with what Land Rover's come up with their new Defender. Now, honestly, I don't hate the Defender. I think that they built a logical vehicle for a certain demographic. However, hardcore off-road people, people who miss what the old Land Rover Defender could do, I totally understand your pain, and that's why this video is out there, so you guys know that there's hope. For the Fastline Off-Road, this is Nathan. Don't forget to go to TFLoffroad.com. That's our very own website where we have unique content, stuff that you guys have never heard about in the off-roading community. And remember, you guys can contribute. Go ahead and send us emails. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.